This is Tracy,
This is Lauren.
and you're listening to
The Air We Breathe.
Did you watch the Grammys?
I did not.
Depending on how long it takes us to get this on, this could be relevant, but that's okay. So big news for Beyonce. You haven't even seen, have you seen this like on social media even?
I have. I saw her reaction, surprise, freaking what in the world when she won Best Country Album of the Year, which I also was very surprised by that.
You know that she also won for the first time ever Album of the Year?
Did not. I was today years old and I was like, okay, what's going on?
Why were you surprised?
I like Beyonce, but I feel like this maybe wasn't the album that she cleaned up the Grammys for. Who bought it? What special pen did he use to cut that check?
I know you're not a Jay-Z stan, to say it, put it mildly. You could probably convince me about the country album. I don't think he bought Album of the Year. Like, they wouldn't give this woman Album of the Year for how many years, and then all it took was for him to pull some strings. Like, I feel like
For a lot of litigations through the Diddy trial thing, and he's done a lot of legal legwork, and he is definitely trying to take a lot of the light off of his life, the spotlight. But I think that this kind of made people forget.
this was not her best album. Most people don't get Album of the Year on their debut, and this was like a new debut for her.
They were tossing it to her, man. It was a low lob. One song that a lot of people probably don't like, but I actually thought it was a bop, was, the Texas Hold'em. Thought that was a jam.
I liked that whole album. I didn't ever get to a point where I was like learning the lyrics, and I never got like, besides the text, like none of it got like super catchy to me, where it didn't like earworm.
Right off the bat, as soon as I heard it, I was like, I'll be dipped in fucking buttermilk, dude.
Texas Hold'em, you mean?
Yeah.
But the rest of the songs, I mean,
They were
wasn't.
catchy. There were some good ones in there, but it didn't seem to me like the effort was there. Cool. Musicality, great. Everything was good, but I just didn't think it would have been. I mean,
if I'm comparing Beyonce to Beyonce, this was not her best. Like, to your point, like the talent was there, the music was there. It just, it's like if you know what somebody can do.
Correct.
And also that's, I think, why I was like, this is a really good album, because I was looking at it as like her freshman country album. But
give her Album of the Year for Lemonade.
Well, that's the problem, is that you can't go back.
Right.
So I think it was like, I know that when Cher, so I guess there was like a big deal where they thought she should have won for The Mask. You know what movie that is?
That was a great movie.
And then the next year she won for, I guess, Moonstruck. And people were like, okay,
Moonstruck was a good movie in its own right. And I do agree that she should have won for The Mask over Moonstruck.
Yeah.
But it feels like this is a really good movie too. So here.
Right.
So
it almost felt like, oh, she's doing something new. It also felt a little icky to me. And a lot of things about this felt icky. And clearly a lot of things about it felt icky to you.
I would agree.
But, okay, well, let me preface it with one icky thing, and then I'll go into the other icky thing. So,
one icky thing at a time, guys.
I have so many icky things. So, as you may know, a lot of country music fans are pretty pissed about the fact that she won a country album.
Livid.
And it does not feel like, it's not like they're even saying like this album, like when you and I were talking about it before we started recording, and you were like, I don't know. And then you started listing like Post Malone, Lil Nas, like Shaboozey.
Hootie and the Blowfish. Who's Hootie?
Darius Rucker.
I was going to say Dallas. Darius Rucker. I mean, like, he went from singing like your alternative, and he's all country right now.
Well, yeah. Yes, but he didn't get famous enough to get shit.
The vibe that I got was everybody needs to calm down. Black people have been in country for a minute.
Yes, it wasn't about Beyonce doing country. You were just like, this is the country stuff I listen to right now, and I'm comparing it. So in that regard, I think I can have a conversation with anybody about the Grammy. I don't care if it was like, I rode so hard for someone. Like, if you can just be like, I thought this album was superior because of A, B, and C, fine. But a lot of people are just throwing a hissy fit because she's not country. I don't care if she's from Texas. She should leave it to the country singers. And it's not like,
are you mad because she's black and she's doing country?
I think that,
like, they're stepping in on your corn.
I'm like, she's even take your racism. I'll let you keep your racism for a hot second before I eviscerate that. She's from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally is from Texas. So she's country.
It's almost Halloween again. You know what that means. It's time for basic Halloween stores. Get your single turkey feather headband. Get your Arabian princess costume. Get everything you need to be ignorant and basic this Halloween. And if you come into basic Halloween stores in the next 7 days, free pumpkin spice latte with every purchase. Basic Halloween stores. Be basic.
So now let's take a look at the racism part and hear what some of the scholars of TikTok have to say.
Beyoncé is not a country music artist. Beyoncé did not make a country music album. Her winning that award at the Grammys was a slap in the face. It is sheer disrespect to the country music community, to the people who were deserving of that award, to the genre of country music. She's not country. And just because she throws Texas in a song doesn't make it a country song either. I don't watch the Grammys. I haven't watched it in years. Never been a Beyonce fan, never been a Jay-Z fan. Her album, have I heard some of the songs? Yes. No, it doesn't do it for me. And it doesn't do it for real country music fans either. So there's not a person out there other than a Beyonce bandwagon jumper that actually thinks that album is good and that she should have won a country music award. No, I don't care what you say. Come after me if you want to. Her music sucks.
Why are you so mad? You said slap in the face.
Everything from start to finish was to say Beyonce is not country. What do you mean? Like, she made a country album. Yep. Like, I think that is the part.
She can't make country music. Yet she just did. She made a whole ass album. Like, you saying that she's not a country artist is like, what does that mean? While she's sipping champagne in her private jet, listening to her country album,
right? Like, Taylor, what defines that genre then? Because it's not the music, because that's country music. Even if she got it because she's Beyonce, and not because it was the best country album, like, okay, I could buy that. But when you go so hard as to just say Beyonce isn't country.
She was born in Texas, bro. She's probably more country than you are, bitch.
Just like a quick question to this creator. Oh, and let me give credit to, and I'm happy to put her in the show notes too for you guys. Kayla Dub H, TikTok. Where the fuck do you get the right to define what country is? Like, yes, you just think everything belongs to white people.
Yeah, nowadays, people are putting their racism right out there.
When I talk to my friends of color, they're like, this is not new.
No, yeah, they're definitely. I think there's the perception of, I would rather you put your racism out there so I can see you coming. Like, don't hide it. That's just worse.
I struggle with that sentiment. Because on the one hand, I'm like, yes, like, I'd rather know. I'm always the person that would rather know what I'm dealing with.
Right.
But also, like, it hurts my heart. It doesn't hurt my identity. And there are people of color who are hearing that. So that's why I'm like, no, shut it down. And I don't know where the line is.
We're not tired. I was like, a lot of people of color, a lot of my black friends and brown friends are like, dude, I'm tired of, this has been a thing. Right. And it's always there. And we're just like, this is bullshit. But that doesn't mean we can't fight for them.
You're saying, like, not so that I can just avoid you, but like, so I know what I'm dealing with, and now I'll deal with.
Now I'll deal with you. You don't have to deal with them. That I am feel comfortable where I can deal with them.
Because they were, I part of me thinks, and this is in real time that I'm coming to this conclusion. The people who were surprised in general are the white people. I think I am surprised, and it was a big wake up call to me that, like, oh, I voted for Obama, we did it. Like, no, we didn't. We did a little something. We turned a dial a little bit, but that just enraged everybody.
It made a lot of racists really loud.
Well, I think that the surprise to them was, I think people are surprised. I think white people in general have become surprised that all white people aren't racist.
That's fucking profound. Yeah. They're like, aren't you mad too? No, dude, you're just a fucking racist.
It shows your privilege, white. Your privilege. I'm a baby, but I don't like racists.
You said privilege. Oh my Lord.
So the fact that you're like passing because people are like, will be outwardly racist in front of you. Sometimes people would say stuff to me where I'm like, oh, you said that out loud.
Yeah, you said that to me.
And one of the pieces, and I've talked about this with my friends who are practicing Jews. I am half Jewish according to my DNA and according to half my family. But my dad was not into it. I was not bat mitzvahed. I didn't go to Hebrew school or anything like that. And I don't normally get clocked as Jewish. Like, people are often surprised to know that that's half of my lineage. So people will say some fucked up shit, some anti-Semitic shit to me, thinking that I'll be on board. Especially people who don't know me well enough to, because you get to know me pretty quickly. You're like, oh, no, that's not.
She's not the one.
She's not a safe space for my Nazism. But she had a 6-pointed star necklace, and I must have looked at it. She's like, "Oh, it's not a Jewish star. I'm not Jewish." Like, with her hand up, like, don't worry. She's like, "It's my grandfather's medal from the war, and that's why I wear it. It's not. I'm not Jewish." And like the quiet part was like, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not that bad thing. Don't worry. I'm a good white.
I'm like, I didn't think about it one way or the other, but I certainly would have been fine if it was a Star of David.
Rock your shit. Why do you think that you wearing a Star of David is going to hinder this conversation at all, and why should it matter? And why do you think I care that you're wearing something on your necklace that can symbolize a religion that you have love and passion for?
So what I figured out was, you are not clocking, first of all, that a whole ass side of my family has necklaces like that and proudly wears them. You're under the assumption that because I don't present as Jewish, I must not be Jewish, and therefore we both agree that it's icky. And I'm like, what is going on? I've learned now, after years, because I just sort of like gave her a like, okay face. So it wasn't like she continued on with it, but now I would say something like, what about me makes you feel comfortable saying something like that to me, or insinuating that, or why are you defensive about it being a star? Like, I would have questioned it more. I wish I had. But yeah, so I think that is the hard piece, is like, now that people are not even pretending, like, I could have been wearing a Star of David and she might have said, mine's not that, just so you know. And like, that is what is hard to stomach for me. That like
the audacity,
and okay, for me, it didn't hit my identity in the same way it would hit for someone who is a very devout Jew. And the same way, like, then if you're gonna say that to anybody,
it's like you don't want to shake it off because it is low-key racist. And you have people that are practicing Jews in your life that you love and care about.
What makes me so sad is like, it's helping us identify them, but at what cost to the people who are being truly hurt by that.
Well, that's why it gives me the fire to
shut
it down, like, and to even challenge
and to listen for it more. I've learned to listen for it, like, read in between the lines.
You're gonna bait me for something? Buckle up, babe.
Right, I'm not that white.
I'm not the one.
I'm not. This was a mistake on your part.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the right day, the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Because we can have this conversation, but you better be ready for it.
And I have learned, like, in getting trained to like do like DEI like trainings, that is like the space that I feel like is correct for me to occupy, is like being the starter pack for people who have no exposure to this, like, who are still cringing about the word privilege.
Right.
Because they're not going to listen to somebody of color. Because as soon as I can get you to listen to somebody of color, that's who I want you to listen to, not me. I'm not the expert. I don't have the lived experience. But since you won't even look in their direction, since they can't even make a country album because of the color of their skin, whatever, let me try to get you in. And so I have like gentle ways of, like, analogies that help. But then, if you're not listening to me, then I'm just like, wait, can you repeat it? And then they repeat it and they're like, did you not hear me? I'm like, no, I heard you. I just want to make sure you hear you. Yeah, absolutely not. So then, yes, then I will get heated. But I also do think it's my responsibility to keep it fucking cool. Like, nobody needs my anger. That's not helping anybody. Like,
not anger. Right. I'll be petty. Like,
but define petty.
Okay. So when the album first came out, I was,
we're on, you're bringing us back onto
Beyonce. And
love that. When Cowboy Carter came out,
we were at a bar. So I was with a bunch of friends.
A dive bar you always thought was nice?
Yeah. Right. And I was feeling spicy. I was feeling savvy, or sassy, not savvy.
You felt sassy.
you have this app on your phone that you can control the jukebox in the bar that you're at, connected by the Wi-Fi.
Yes. I love those.
And yes.
Because you know how I hate having to get up.
Oh my God, yes. And it's like $5. You could fast pass two or three songs for $5. And the first song on there, I played Texas Hold'em. And I was looking around waiting. I was like, let's go. It's like the bar was packed full of 50 plus white old men. And there were probably about 20 of them. Well, and my friend was like, you're really like, why would you? I was like, I'm doing it. Because it's a good song.
I've always hated that. Why would you complete that sentence? Why would I what? That's what I want to ask them. Why would I what?
Stir up the shit?
Stir up shit with the, why am
I worried about their lack of comfort right now?
Exactly.
Sip your beer and seize. Fuck you.
But did it work? Were people triggered, or you just feel like they were?
I saw about 5 heads look up and look around. Like they were looking for the black people.
Whoa.
And what the funniest part, that Pièce de la Résistance was the song that was playing that I paid extra to get cut off.
What was playing?
With the arms wide open. It was so fucking fantastical to me.
This episode of the pod is brought to you by Women's Place magazine. Check out this month's cover story. It's not appropriation if you're hot. How to wear chopsticks in your hair. Make sure you grab your copy and be a woman who knows her place. Women's Place magazine.
So today's episode we're talking cultural appropriation. We have like an hour of footage and I just introduced the topic. We're doing great. But if you think about it, pretty much everything about the country genre and just like being country is appropriation. Mm-hmm. None of those pilgrims came over here with cowboy hats. They met indigenous people and caballeros, and that is where they got that. Yeah. So it's like you took it, and now you're like finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Because it's fine. And that is, I think, the crux of it all. Cultural appropriation is like, it's only okay when white people do it. Yeah. Like if I wanted to become a white girl with dreadlocks, I guess if we have some sort of Viking blood somewhere, like dreadlocks shows up in a lot of places, but I'm not going to get the heat for it in the same way that a black person would. They don't offend in the same way. They're in like, white women in freaking runway shows have it. Mm-hmm. And so not only are you taking this from another culture, but you're then demeaning it when it's coming from that culture. And I think no,
we took it from you.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Right.
So you can't do it anymore.
And I think the only way people have figured out to achieve that is to shame the people they stole it from. So I have to make you feel shame about this thing that is part of your culture so that I can have it.
Yep, it's fucked up.
Should we have a little teachable moment, which is where I will define cultural appropriation?
Love a teachable moment.
Okay, class, here we go. Today we're going to learn.
I'm hot for teacher. Sorry, I had to.
The idea of cultural appropriation is that members of the privileged group adopt the cultural elements of a marginalized group with these goals in mind, either exploitative, disrespectful, or stereotyping. And then to go a little deeper in, some of the ways that this shows up are like adopting the culture and you don't have consequences, but that marginalized person would have consequences. So like the dreads thing.
But if I want to play a costume and make fun of the culture, I can be a Rastafarian for Halloween.
Right. But then
if you try to wear dreads in school or at a workplace, you can be admonished for it because it's distracting, or it's not. It's okay if it's a joke, but it's not okay if that's your culture. That's fucked up.
And another thing is like if you are profiting off of a culture you're not a member of. Is an example, Madonna, the Vogue video. Mm-hmm. Madonna made a bunch of money, but that is like voguing came from the gay drag ball subculture. Mm-hmm. And
that's a big fan base for her, though.
It was a big fan base. Yes, it was. Okay, well, then that's a good question. So, but she did get money from it. And I don't think she was out there like.
Well, what was her intent behind it?
Well, but intent or not, like it's all well and good for you to be like, I'm going to take from this culture, but look, I'm going to have the LGBTQ community in this video. Is that the only obligation she has? Or do you take some of those proceeds and donate them to an LGBTQ cause? Do you know what I mean?
I can see that. Now I'm gonna take your Madonna and I'm gonna raise you an Elvis. So Madonna was a very iconic figure in the LGBTQ community. Okay. Like still is. Like Madonna is icon. I think that her presence in that environment and her presence in that culture has brought awareness to it and popularity to that culture.
Okay.
Drag queens to this day do shows from her music. Now, in that respect, yes, it could, because she's made money. Madonna has actually done a lot of pay it forward work and donating to that community. But with Elvis, now I don't mind Elvis. I think he made good music. He is a pop icon, but he straight lifted his music from the beginning of his career from Black people, R&B singers, bluegrass, Black country, Muddy Waters. You know, you've got all these people that actually migrated up to Chicago from the South. I don't want to shit on Elvis. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. But I feel like there was a lot of artistic freedoms he took on his music. And his influences were from Black artists in the South.
Yeah.
Hound Dog, perfect example. If you've ever seen the movie Elvis, Doja Cat's song was playing the original cut of Hound Dog over her song. So I thought that was a cool artistic jab, right? Like you're on the soundtrack to a movie that was about Elvis.
Yeah.
And your main song on the soundtrack is of the original singer of Hound Dog. It's a beautiful thing to me because you're taking it back.
You're taking it back.
And I feel like,
which is what Beyonce is doing.
You're also saying, but don't forget where you got it from.
Yes. Well,
there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for X, Y, and Z. If you can't do that, then you're appropriating.
Right. It's hard because on the one hand, there's a difference between I have no Black friends. Mm-hmm. I have no Latino friends. I have no Jewish friends. And I'm out here acting like I'm of that culture versus this is who I grew up with. So there are aspects of the way I talk, aspects of the music I like that is just what I actually like and what I actually sound.
Fight, right? If you're going to grow up in the South and you're going to be in that culture and you're going to grow with that being a part of you, a lot of how I move through life,
yes,
is I wouldn't be who I am today without my background.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head too, that like you're fighting the fight. And I think that's where Elvis failed.
And that's where Madonna went and did it.
Is that like he did some donating, like financially he donated like the NAACP, but he never spoke out.
No.
And he never like with his whole chest like was given credit.
He tried to when he was younger, maybe, but he folded.
Right. So then, sorry, dude, it's appropriation.
Yep.
And it's like he's the king of rock and roll. Is he the king?
Right.
Who appointed you? Who appointed you? Oh, other white people. Sure. Yeah. Because they were the execs. They were the ad people. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just this like circle jerk of whiteness of just being like, oh yeah, no, that you think he's the king too? Yeah. Well, we decided he's the king. Yes. Yeah. Look at us.
Look at us.
Wait,
it's such a good idea. Look at our.
Nobody has any concerns, and then they look around at all the other white male faces. Like, oh, everybody's cool with it.
Sounds like a great idea.
Great focus group, guys.
We're gonna make it to print.
Sploosh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Tell me how you really feel, Tracy.
Yuck. Okay, so another example, oversimplifying or like treating the culture as like a joke. I'm wearing a Native American headdress to fucking Coachella.
Mm-hmm.
And my name is Brittany, and I've never met I still pronounce it Indians, and I'm wearing this. And not only is it not my culture, but it's also representative of things. It is something you have to earn. It's symbolic. And I'm willing to bet that if I started wearing a Purple Heart without ever serving in the military, I'm pretty sure some of the people wearing those headdresses would have something to say about it.
Of course, as they should.
Well, but that's the military.
Well, dude, I literally, this is not, I do have a point to this, so buckle up. Because my dad passed. I wanted to get a tattoo. My dad spent 23 years in the Marine Corps, did 2 tours in Vietnam, little stint in recon.
And they were voluntary. He didn't get
drafted. Yeah. So I had a very pro-military, pro-Marine dad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get something to symbolize him. And I was going to get gunnery sergeant chevrons on my shoulder where they would be in a...
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of a cool idea. And I asked somebody who was in the military, and they was like, absolutely not.
Why?
Because when you have chevron, like, you have to be a Marine to get that kind of stuff put on you. Like, there's an underlying fraternity to it, and there's a lot of Marines out there that would be like, don't do that because you didn't do the work. And I respect that.
Right.
What does it symbolize to me versus what the optics are to other people?
It doesn't belong to you.
It doesn't belong to me, and I don't want to walk around with this on me and bask in it like I did 13 weeks of boot and 2 tours of Vietnam.
Right. I agree with that. The frustrating part to me is it's only okay when the Marines say that. The headdress, there is that is exactly the same thing. It is representative of something earned within a culture. Why is that? It's because, well, that's made up. Sweetie, everything about everything is made up. Someone sat down and said, you know what a cool symbol would be to show how much people, like, you could, listen, I am not trying to diminish in any way what they represent, like the actual work put into them, but they are glorified Boy Scout badges.
Yes.
And I say that because, you have to put work in to get a Boy Scout, but it's a badge of
honor.
It is the meaning you put behind it that gives it the power.
Of course.
Why can
respected and the masses? So
why were you allowed to assign that power, but other cultures cannot be upset when you're ignoring what they've assigned?
Say it louder.
You can assign.
It hurts the culture. Like, why are you doing it to spoof us?
Right.
And that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
No, that's not cute.
Right. What it really does is to center whiteness. It's like, if all of these are like others, they're like, these are caricatures, these are cartoons, and then we're like real.
It makes racism more palatable to the masses. Little puffs of microaggressions towards this race. So, so I'm going to make a joke out of it. I'm going to spoof it. It's not real.
This is how racism is perpetuated. Because if you, from the beginning, this is the implicit, this is the air you're breathing, right? Because by the time you get old enough to act on it, they're set. If somebody says, I have never used the N-word and I've never said anything bad about another race to my child. Okay, let's peel back some layers, though. What is the tacit messaging? When you, low-key, have nobody of color around your kids, that's teaching them something.
Oh, yeah. You isolating them is teaching them that other colors is not normal.
Yeah.
This is normal.
In the books and media that they consume, it's all people that are white. You're telling them something. Whether you think you meant to or not, you did.
And that's why I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to be raised around the women in my life. My girlfriends helped make me who I am. I would call them sisters, right?
Yeah,
joke around, sister from a different mister. But it's like, I think that's where I'm bringing it back to the fight, because if it is cultural appreciation, you're not tired. You want to stand up for what's right.
Right.
And you want to push back. When you know the people that you care for are being, I don't even want to use the word, sounds so sad, oppressed.
They are. No, say it again. When you
oppressed,
know
no, that's not cool. I'm going to challenge you because say it to me. And I don't want to have that savior complex. And I think it's only given, I only give it when I get it, but I pay very close attention. I have my ears to the ground.
It is like the ultimate flex of privilege.
Yes.
I get to dip into this fun aspects of it, but I don't want to do any of the work. And I get to just take off my little costume.
Right. You're in drag, babe.
Yes.
You hate the drag queens, but you're in drag.
Yes.
You come out in drag and then you take it off. You wipe that face off and you're like, whew.
I believe it was the philosopher RuPaul who said, we're all born naked and the rest is drag.
God bless.
It really is all just what we're presenting.
Amen.
And so if you're being authentic, it'll show.
Yes.
And to take it back to like Elvis, I don't think he was faking the way he was like talking or faking the way he was dancing. I think we were seeing where his music tastes genuinely were, right? But then the fact that he didn't have to carry any of the oppression that goes along with it. He didn't then fight the fight. Even to go back to Beyoncé, because basically that's what these people are saying, is that she's culturally appropriating. They just don't understand what that word is, right?
Yeah,
but
she's the Elvis. And white people are mad because they're like, wait, she's the Elvis.
She's the Elvis.
Yeah. It didn't come from white people. White people stole it from black people, and she stole it. There's too many of us.
There's too. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're scared now. Because we're just dwindling. It's the I'm afraid because I was at the top of this, and there was a lot of us.
Right.
And now I think there was a poll or a census or something years ago. And they were saying by 2030 or 2040, white people would be the minority. What happens when something's about to get snuffed out? They get really scared and loud and mad.
Yeah.
And yelly. And, they start swinging. So it's the calm. It's the tantrum before the nap.
Can we get to the nap? Just everybody take a knee.
I'm here for the nap. I love a nap.
I don't want. I'm saying I want to put them down for their sleepy time.
Well, I want quiet.
Correct.
I want fucking quiet. Can we just all
leave our friends alone?
Seriously.
Go suck your thumb and go. Get off our dicks.
I think the main thing, and I'm not even trying to, I think that it's the battle against wokeness, really, but it's can I be woke? You don't have to be woke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why is you not being woke now telling me I can't be woke?
So I have this whole thing that all these big systems are just macrocosms of family systems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
So that family member that everybody has that doesn't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it.
Are you looking at me in the face and asking me that?
I'm mostly talking to the listeners
because our DNA says that yes, we do have that.
Right. But the reason that a lot of the times that is the trauma response or whatever is because you bringing it up makes me uncomfortable because I see some truth in what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And it's too much work for me to change my entire ideals and the framework behind them.
Right.
It's too much digging.
Yes.
I can't get all up in there.
So the problem that I think they see with wokeness and this whole Beyonce crisis that white America is having is I don't want my kids examining things. The banjo is a tradition in our family that came from Appalachia, came from West Africa. That's where the banjo comes from.
It's a little bit more east, guys. A little bit more east.
Yeah. You stole people and instruments.
They're like, hey, that sounds good. Mine.
And so that is what it is it's gatekeeping all of this information. And I'm like, how can you not see that if you're gatekeeping it, you're part of the problem? How can you be I'm not racist. I just don't want my kids to know that Black people contributed to things. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I understand 1,000%. It's let younger human beings make up their own minds of how they want to grow and be adult human beings.
No, can't.
I remember it must have been in the mid to probably middle 90s. There was this festival on the south side of Chicago called A Day at the Park. And it was with my friend. Her dad is from the South and her mom is from Belize. So it's Caribbean, Creole, French, there's a lot of different cultures in that country.
Yeah.
And it's great. Food is amazing. And the music is awesome too. So Day at the Park was basically a collection of Caribbean, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Belizean, Jamaican cultures together. And I was spending the weekend over there like I did most of the time. And it was in the summer. And I wanted to go and look like a little square. I had the little tapered jeans with the heads. It was bad news.
Which we used to call those white girls.
White girls, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had oh, we could do this. I could wear this. And then I remember her mom going in her closet and grabbing a pair of overalls that were cross colors.
Oh, had cross colors.
Oh, dude, yes. Good night.
Wait, tell us, for those that don't remember, what were cross colors?
Cross colors were, it was a clothing brand. The ones that I wore were multiple striped denim, like red, yellow, blue, green, black t-shirt underneath. It was I was young. I was probably 16.
Why? You had clothes on, so why was she having you change your clothes?
She was protecting me.
Oh, she's like, you can't
go out there like that. These are people from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, from Belize. I was like, you got to have some spice in your clothes, babe. You can't,
Do you think it was partly like I want them to know you're safe?
Well, it was that was a style on that day.
Well, yeah, you just look like a nerd, but
I looked like a nerd before, but I think the underlying was, you look cool now, and you'll blend.
You'll blend, like you fitting in,
being cool. Like she wanted me to be a part of something. Right. She didn't want me to be ostracized.
And I think wearing something like cross colors sort of codes then, like I'm down, like you can be yourself around me. Like you can be
I can take my mask off, because me as a person, even for me, it was like I've known this person since second grade.
Yeah.
So I had been, in the mix for a while already.
Well, you were a family friend.
Right.
Like she wasn't just going to give anybody clothes.
No.
And, like you were.
Her mom, adorable. That was so funny. They gassing me up afterwards was amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that we went and the food was great. And then there was a moment where we were dancing. It was getting dark. And they had Caribbean music, dance hall, Jamaican, reggae, and we were living our best lives. And for people who don't know me, I do have rhythm.
She does. You were a cheerleader.
I was a cheerleader. I was in step. I was in palms. I've got some rhythm. And I was living my best life. And I had some 16, 17-year-old boys that noticed me. And I feel like that was also validating too.
What about that story speaks to cultural appropriation, Lauren?
Does it make it okay that I gotten a makeover? Yeah. Right? Like the Princess Diaries of a Belizean culture.
Yes.
Or if I would have come to her house or met them there and have done that myself. Where's the separation?
Like, because she bestowed it upon you, yes. Like, does she negate the cultural appropriation?
Correct.
Are you asking my opinion? Okay, so it's hard to separate because I know you. I'm going to compare it to something. One of my best friends is married to an Indian man. Mm-hmm. So their wedding, which was amazing, was a fusion of Judaism and Indian culture. Mm-hmm. And so for the rehearsal, she got us all saris to wear, nice. To nod to that. And I think that's a similar thing. It's we were there celebrating their love and celebrating his culture. And I think the same thing, then later, regardless of your religion, we all dance the hora, which is another traditional, it's a Jewish dance. One of the most fun dances that exists. If you have never been able to dance the hora, I cannot recommend it enough. It is so fun. I'm holding hands with people I don't even know. I was just living. So I think that's it, is you were there to appreciate. You were appreciating the food. Yes. You were talking to people. You weren't putting on a show. You were showing respect. When I was in the classroom, I would do things like wear T-shirts that had pride flags on them, mm-hmm. or said fight racism, or just things like that, yeah. Because it was I'm trying to code to you. I get it. I'm safe. I'm a safe space.
Mm-hmm. And to code to other people is I'm not the one.
And I'm not the one. Correct.
So I am not a safe space for racists and homophobes.
Right.
I am a safe space for brown and black people and LGBTQ.
Right. Exactly. I think that's sort of what the cross colors did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. Was it number one made it so that you didn't stick out, but also I think when you're around people that are not of what is authentic to you, you change. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I've seen it. I've worked in educational spaces where one white guy can walk in and it changes the whole tone, even if he comes in the most respectful way possible. Mm-hmm. I think she was just mindful of all of it and was just here.
That's the crux of it, right?
Why?
If you grow up as a Black teenager at 17, she already was multitasking. She was already my friend and her mom. I mean, you know what I mean? Her mom was in the game longer. So it's basically you have to be running all engines and making sure everyone's comfortable because everyone else's comfort is more important than mine. And but the funny thing is we still had fun. We weren't, you know, it wasn't a feeling of worry. There wasn't a panic. It was, this is going to be fun. Yay. But to have that forethought and to be thinking and all those different facets to make sure, that's just crazy to me.
And to have to move through the world like that.
Correct.
Well, it's probably very fun to be a white straight man in America. Which also, this is my dream of what I am hoping will come quickly. So there's a lot of talk about how things should be a meritocracy and how stop hiring based on, I'm doing air quotes, quotas, which is actually not how any of that works really. It is astounding to me how many of these white men believe that is it. The minute that you get these people out of the way, I'm actually better fit for the job. And I didn't like that is the whole reason. And I'm like, and it'll get perpetuated by racist business owners and racist whatever. But to your point, this girl was 17 and was reading the room, picking up on these logistics. I'm willing to bet those are transferable skills. And it's like,
oh, they are.
If you really wanted a meritocracy, you would have no job. I mean, I know we've talked about this before, like working with male teachers in a female-dominated profession. The bar was so much lower.
It's going to be a bad one. What's it going to look like when you figure out consumers and business owners that are successful are from women, Black and brown companies? And when you try to hold the leash, that your bottom line is actually going to suffer, because it really is like if you're watching it through your fox colored glasses.
Oh my God, fox colored glasses. That's good.
Yeah. And you can't widen your lenses, man. The world doesn't look like that.
Oh, hey there, guys. It's Midge. Just letting you know that Red State Hair Salon has a real good deal for you this spring break. This spring break must-have is cornrows. Whether you're a white girl from Des Moines or a Caucasian woman from Cleveland, get ready to rock those cornrows this bikini season. Okay, come by to the Red State Hair Salon today to get your all-American cornrows.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you some scenarios and we're going to decide if it is cultural appropriation or just appreciation.
Is it appropriation or appreciation?
Love that.
Let's go.
So hoop earrings. Are hoop earrings appropriation?
I go right into no. It's that style has been worn by women in so many different cultures throughout history that to appropriate it would be very hard. I think it's just a movement of fashion history. I think that it's an appreciation of women in a lot of different cultures that wear those. But that's a really interesting dive, because in the 90s and the 80s and the 90s, 70s, 80s and 90s shit, big ass hoop earrings were big in Black and brown cultures.
Right. I agree with you that it's hard to make a full argument for that being appropriation, but I think the issue is that the way Black and brown girls are judged by those earrings versus the way white people are judged by those earrings, like that's where it's problematic. And if you're wearing it to be costumey, then that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, if you're making a concerted effort to poke fun and have people laugh at that persona, yes, that's garbage. But unless you are in that culture, like Martin, when he had multiple characters, anybody who's ever seen Martin, exactly, we know who Shanae is.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
there's nothing but space and opportunity up in here.
I fucking love you. But I think that that was fashion. That was a spoof. But it's okay to spoof that culture when you are in it.
Well, and I also think there's a difference between,
like, it's not mine. I can't go in there like Shanae. That's, to me, that's blackface, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Like you shouldn't be the one playing the Shanae character.
Correct.
So this makes me think of, I'm a member of the Bravo universe, or the Bravo-verse, and one of my faves, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm trying to get Lauren into it.
I've seen the first season.
It's more so I can talk shit about these ladies with you. It is not because I think
I've got enough to talk shit about some of these bitches. So
correct. But there's people you haven't even met yet. And one of them I'm going to talk about right now.
Go for it.
Dorit.
Okay, stop. Repeat her name again.
Dorit Kemsley.
Like Dorit.
Dorit. Like Dorito, but just Dorit.
Without the O.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
So Dorit is fashion. Like everything is a moment with her.
With a name like Dorit, I would have to say yes.
She does this thing I've noticed where, and it's subtle-ish, where she will match her jewelry, her hair, whatever, to whatever she's wearing, even if it's like kind of a cultural thing. So like, in one of the reunions, she's wearing kind of like a tango inspired, like she's got something pinned here in her hair, and the dress sort of looks like that tango emoji. Okay. She has a blonde woman. She's
like a flamenco dancer.
She has her hair, like her baby hair's down to look like a flamenco dancer. But then another day, she'll be wearing like some like Gucci black tracksuit looking like J-Lo thing, and have like big chunky gold jewelry.
So she's going for more of a B girl.
It's then other days she'll be dressed like in Ralph Lauren.
Okay. So she just goes through these personas like underwear.
Right. So is it okay that sometimes she's trying on a persona that doesn't give white woman or not?
I think Adele tried that when she was wearing buns on her head. You don't remember that? Okay, so she was in the Caribbean at a festival. She had wore a Jamaican flag bikini and bandeau knots.
Yeah.
And some
Adele was wearing a Jamaican bra?
Yeah. And you look it up. There's pictures all over the Googles. And she got so much backlash for that. That I would have to say is, you're going to a party, regardless of like the theme, I would assume that had something to do with her outfit. But at that point, like, I don't know Adele, but that was cringe. I was
like, do we know what party she was going to? Like, did somebody put her in cross colors?
That's the thing, right? Like, or did she have this? Did a stylist say, you're going to go as this? And she was like, dope. And she thought it was innocent. And everybody else in the free world that saw it did not think it was innocent.
Well, here's the thing. I will say this. I like Adele a lot. But if somebody told her to do that and she didn't do her own research, then she's complicit.
And she even said, she actually came back and said, I didn't read the fucking room, end quote.
Ah, got it.
Okay. It's not a cute look. And if you are culturally, what could be construed as cultural appropriation, look good. You gotta look good.
When you said it's not a good look, you didn't mean
she don't look good at all. Like, regardless. Correct. It's not good. Like, it's not cute.
Like, Lauren's like, if you're gonna be stealing other people's culture, don't be ugly.
I mean, your face, you can't change that.
She doesn't have a bad face.
No, she's beautiful, but the look itself is not attractive to me.
To me, it feels like a cultural appropriation thing, because it feels like you're like being a cultural tourist.
Yes, you're trying way too hard to flex.
I think maybe the knots or the bikini top, especially the bikini top, I think in particular would have been an okay choice on its own.
Yes. You're in the Caribbean. You bought the bikini top. Cool. What are you doing with your hair?
Right. Like, and that is what I'm saying about this Dorit chick. Mm-hmm. It feels like you're putting on a costume of a culture. Right. And that is what rubs me the wrong way. And okay, so Adele is a great example of like, there is no question that you done fucked up. That's bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, and she owned up to it.
I mean, yeah, and I think that's what she needs to do. But with this, like, the more insidious stuff, and Dorit, I should say, for the people who do not follow it as closely, she's had some issues where she's, like, called one of the Black cast members aggressive. So now,
couldn't hear. I was rolling my eyes.
So, like, there's been other things where it's like, read a book. But that's what that is the thing, is I'm like, I don't think you get to put on this, like, costume. Like, I it's the same thing with, like, I don't think it's appropriate for you to be like, oh, I'm going to a function. And this was, like, really big in the 90s. These, like, white girls being like, let me put on a kimono or an Asian inspired dress. And then I'm also going to put chopsticks in my hair. And that's my thing, is, like, you don't get to just, like, cosplay as another culture. And so there's ways to celebrate and to have a nod to it without it. That's when it becomes cringe to me, when it becomes costumey. Like chopsticks in your hair. Really? Like, no, it's not necessary with the, or, okay, just that on its own is fine. But when you're like, I'm putting on an ensemble.
You're like you said, you're cosplay, you're drag. You're but not even well. Like,
right. And it's not like you're in Japan and you're at, like, a tea ceremony. Correct. And it is respectful and appropriate to be dressed. Read the room. Adele told you to, and you should.
Now, this is a question for you. Is it okay to culturally appropriate within your circle, but not in public?
But is it cultural appropriation in your circle? Like,
that's a good question.
I had Latino roommates in college. Their families were from Mexico. That was how we joked, right? So it would be like, they'd be like, hey, do you know so-and-so? And it was like some white girl. And I'm like, no, I don't know her. And she's like, well, don't you see her at the meetings? And I'm like, what meetings? And she's like, the white people meetings. And I'm like, oh no, we wear hoods for those. Like, we could get that jokey about race because we had created that space together, right? If it's agreed upon by all parties involved, is sort of how I feel about it.
100%. And I think it's a lot of, like, if you want to wear hoop earrings, like, if your intent is sound and it's a fit, it looks good with the outfit, but it's not a costume. It's a representation of who you are, which means you have hoop earrings as a detail amongst the whole outfit. It's not, you're not making a caricature of a different person, because that becomes an identity issue. Like, you're the girl in
Real Housewives.
Real Housewives. That's a caricature. She doesn't know who she is really.
Right. Oh shit.
She wants to play characters every fucking day.
Damn. Has never even seen this woman and still read her perfectly for Phil. You got Dory.
Sorry. But I feel like if I go for different personas per se, it's always Lauren-fied. Like, the other day, I wore a side-parted slick ponytail and hoop earrings and my shell toes. Like, that's how I dressed in high school. You can tell me that. Like, this isn't me just saying I'm going to be this character today. Although wearing the hoop earrings does make me feel strong and it gives me a different persona, but it's not a caricature of a persona. It's strength. It's a positive.
You're pulling from a time when you, in high school, where you were becoming accepted and you had girlfriends and they were the ones showing you how to do your hair and how to do your makeup and jewelry. And it happened to be a lot of Black girls, not strictly. You know, you had a couple other white girls in there. But I think that's what you're not calling up, like, the image of a strong Black woman, because that's not, you don't own that. That's not for you. But you were taught by strong Black women.
So I'm using that in my own life. Yes.
And it empowered you. And that's what you're calling up, is you're bringing up the empowered version of you from that. And that is the difference.
And that's why I fight hard, is because strong Black women helped raise me. Yeah. And my Black friends helped me develop through my teenage years. Right. So I can't escape that. And I don't want to. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not something I want to run away from. It's something I want to not emulate, but I want to, part of it I want to absorb into my person.
You did. I don't even think you're choosing to. That's where you were surrounded by. And it's formative, right? It became part of who you are. And I think going back to, like, the Elvis of it all and the Beyoncé of it all, I think it bothers people that you didn't fall in line to the weight. You're supposed to just steal that from them and then get out. You're not supposed to continue crediting them.
Or not even crediting them, but finding the beauty in it and letting it strengthen me.
But the fact that you say strong Black women helped raise me, you're saying the quiet part out loud for some people, because we're supposed to erase any Black fingerprints, any Latino fingerprints on any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, no, just pretend it was white ingenuity. When we talk about like white supremacy, I think what we hear, at least at first, when that became like a buzzword again, it was like, it felt cringy because I'm like, I don't believe in the idea that I don't believe in white supremacy, but I think it is more than just like, I don't believe that that's true. It is still like the fact of how our country exists. Like, the default is white. That's white supremacy. Like, white is right. That's white supremacy. So even if you're like, I know full fucking well that the color of your skin does not make you superior, we're in a system that has made that the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the, when you try to fight against that machine is when sometimes some people in the music industry, you get that big finger pointed at you like, you are not supposed to be here. You are lost. Right. And they try to do that to Beyonce. And I get that. Right. But I still think the album was good, but it was not good enough as an album, not as a Black woman that made a country album. And she did a good job. But I think that kind of highlighted for a lot of people the machine that is the Grammys. Like, it can be bought.
Oh, listen, all you want to do is talk about, you're just trying to find a way to shit talk Jay-Z, which I respect.
Sometimes when I see Beyonce and Jay-Z, I want to say, Beyonce, blink twice if you need help.
Hi, breathers. If you're interested in seeing us do some video podcasting on this topic, where we riff on Chet Hanks, Rachel Dolezal, and a really unfortunate snake charmer outfit, check out our YouTube.